Oh, that's good coffee. So usually when board game enthusiasts talk about this thing called gateway games, what they're talking about is the games that get people from playing something like Monopoly to playing something like Terra Mystica. It's the games in between that lead people from those games that we all played growing up, which are fun in certain circumstances, but have some serious flaws. To playing something that's a little bit more serious, a little bit more strategic, and a little bit more thematic. Now, usually when people talk about gateway games, the trifecta, the holy trinity of gateway games is usually Settlers of Catan, which is now known as just Catan, Ticket to Ride, and Carcassonne. Today, I want to talk about why I think Carcassonne is the best gateway game. What I think a game needs to be in order to be a good gateway game is, number one, it has to be available, right? It has to be readily available. So Carcassonne is in print. So you can buy it at Barnes & Noble, you can buy, and this is not a paid advertisement, by the way, but you can buy it online. Well, number two, does it teach you game mechanics that other games might have that go beyond what people are used to in like Clue, like the roll and move, or like the lay down a card and do something type of thing. Now, what are some of the things that Carcassonne teaches? I would argue that Carcassonne does an incredible job of introducing players into the worker placement genre. If you don't believe me, I recently played Carcassonne with two of my friends, and my good friend had never played before. And so when I asked him what he thought of the game, this is what he had to say.
So I like, what is the style of game where you set a character down and then get stuff from it? Worker placement. So I've enjoyed Lords of Waterdeep, and that's what it reminded me of the most. It's fast. It's a lot faster than I expected it to be. It makes it accessible. Speed makes things accessible, especially for us because we don't have a lot of time.
Thanks, Kevin. I promise I didn't prompt him to say that it taught him worker placement or that it reminded him of Lords of Waterdeep. Carcassonne does that because what you're doing is you're placing one of your meeples on a space, and that meeple is allowing you to accrue a certain number of points based on the space that you put them in. Another mechanic that Carcassonne teaches really well, and it's the mechanic that Carcassonne is based on, is tile placement. If someone has never played a game like Betrayal at the House on the Hill or a game like Magic Maze, which kind of put a spin on the tile laying genre, well, Carcassonne is a great introduction to that. And then the last mechanic that I think it teaches really well is area control. In general, what you're doing is you're vying for control of certain features of the board, which are going to get you certain amounts of points. And our last criteria is Carcassonne easy to teach? Is it easy to learn? Is it easy to play? I would say Carcassonne is so simple, right? So the rules are elegant and simple, but the gameplay is actually, it can get strategic and it can get complex. Now, some caveats. If you're truly using this as a gateway game, there's a couple of rules that I recommend you don't play with. So I recommend that you don't play with the farmer. Now, this is not a rules explanation, so I'm not really going to get into what the farmer rule is, but basically I found that telling the fields apart, especially in final scoring, gets a little fiddly, so I would recommend to not play with the farmer rule variant. I also recommend that if you're playing with someone who's not very familiar with board games, that you don't play with the abbot. So the abbot is a meeple, is a special meeple that you can actually take off of your tile at any point, and you score whatever you would have scored as the abbot, even if you didn't finish putting all the tiles around your meeple. This is great. I think it gives the game some strategic depth, but I would recommend that you don't play that with a first-time player. There is one variant rule that I do recommend that you play with first-time players, and it's the river. Basically what it does is it railroads your starting game. So what that means is that you are going to draw from the river pile at the beginning, and everyone's just going to take turns drawing from the same pile, and all they're doing is they're placing down river tiles, and it's just going to railroad how they start the game. So if you're unconvinced by this video, if you think that there is a better intro or gateway game out there, just go ahead and leave a comment below and start a discussion. What is your favorite gateway game? If you do agree with me, then cool, I did my job. Either way, my name is Daniel. This has been Tabletop on the Go, and if you like this video, make sure to like it and subscribe to see more.